Welcome, MHP Rhino Nation, to another episode. Let's get dive deep into MHPs, baby.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Hitting your mid-30s, it's a pretty interesting milestone. It feels like a moment to kind of catch your breath, look around, and realize you've learned a thing or two. Today, we're going to unpack 6 really powerful truths that tend to click into place right around this age.
So what are we talking about here? What's this essential wisdom that life has hopefully been teaching you? What are the core lessons that, if you've been paying attention, have probably started to sink in?
And here is the first major takeaway. True growth, especially by this age, isn't about collecting a giant list of life hacks. It's about taking a handful of really fundamental ideas and, well, actually living them. It's all about depth, not just breadth. So, our journey has to start in the only place it can, inside your own head. Because before you can really get a handle on your relationships, your career, any of that, you've got to get your own internal house in order first. This one is huge. So many of us are walking around carrying old hurts, old resentments. But holding on to blame, especially for things that happened when we were young, is like building our own prison and then forgetting we have the key. Now, it is so important to understand what forgiveness really is and what it isn't. It's not about saying, oh, that was okay, or wiping your memory clean. No way. Think of it as a selfish act in the best way possible. It's you deciding to untie yourself from the past so you can actually move forward. And this is the real cost of not forgiving, isn't it? That resentment, man, it is heavy. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. It just drains your energy and leaves no room for anything good to grow. Dropping that weight is freedom. Which brings us to the next big truth about your inner world. It is not enough to just hear about an idea like forgiveness. Real, lasting change comes from this 3-step dance. You learn the concept, then you actually practice it with real discipline. And finally, it just becomes part of who you are. Action is everything. All right, so let's move outward. Because once you start sorting out your inner landscape, it can't help but change how you deal with every single person in your life. Ah, yes, the great friendship migration. In our 20s, it often feels like a numbers game, right? How many friends can you have? But by your 30s, you realize your time and energy are precious. What you really crave is a small, tight-knit crew, the kind of people who are genuinely thrilled when you succeed, not secretly jealous. That's gold. And you see a really similar shift when it comes to family. The family you were born into, they gave you your start, for better or worse. But as you get older, the real focus, the real priority, shifts to the family you are building, your partner, your kids. That's your legacy. That's the main event. Okay, this one is a game changer. When you meet someone who's just brilliant, maybe better than you at something, what's your gut reaction? If it's to compete, to one-up them, that's usually insecurity talking. Real confidence, true strength, doesn't feel threatened. It sees a chance to learn, a chance to collaborate. That whole competitive mindset, it comes from this really flawed idea of a zero-sum game. The notion that for me to win, someone else has to lose. Let's just be crystal clear on what that means, because it's a trap. Because here's the beautiful truth. Success isn't a limited pie. It's not a resource that runs out. When you surround yourself with smart, driven people, it doesn't take anything away from you. It elevates you. A rising tide lifts all boats, and their success just makes the whole ocean bigger for everyone. So, we've talked about our inner world and our relationships. Now we're at our final truth. And this one is a bit more subtle, but it is one of the clearest signs of genuine maturity. We live in such a noisy world. Everyone is just rushing to fill the air with their opinions, their hot takes. We're conditioned to believe that to be seen as smart or powerful, you have to be talking. But what if that's completely backwards? That's right, absolutely nothing. Learning when to just be quiet, when to listen, when to observe, honestly, it's a superpower in today's world. And don't mistake silence for weakness. Oh no, it is packed with power. It gives you the space to actually understand what's going on. It screams confidence because you don't need to prove you're the smartest person in the room. And you know what? Because you use your words sparingly, when you finally do speak, people lean in. They listen. Okay, so we've walked through all these big ideas. But like we said right at the start, just hearing them, just nodding along, that's not the goal here. And this is where it all comes together, right back to where we started. You can listen to this, agree with every single point, but it all stays theoretical until you put it into practice. The magic happens when these truths stop being ideas in your head and start being actions in your life. So that's the real question I want to leave you with. Not which idea did you like the most, but which one are you actually going to do something about? Today, are you going to finally let go of that old grudge? Are you going to reach out to a smart peer to learn from them? Or are you just going to try being quiet in your next meeting? That choice, that's where your next chapter begins.